Oh, yeah. Is it Monday already? This is it, chat. The final prediction stream for Andor ever. I know, that sounds horrible, but it is the truth. The finale of Andor Season 2, episodes 10, 11, and 12 all release tomorrow. So this is it. The final time we'll ever get to predict what's going down in Andor. The final time ever. Because after Season 2, it's over. It's over, chat. It's over. But we got a crazy show ahead of us today because will Luthen die? Will Leia die? Will anybody die? And will we see legacy characters like a Leia or a Vader in these final 3 episodes? And how will this perfectly go directly into Rogue One? Let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's it been doing on this fine Monday afternoon? Yeah, that's right. This is the last Monday live stream in a long time because we will be going back to Tuesdays next week as Andor will be over. Now, I know it sounds sad that Andor's going to be over, but we got to be happy that it existed because last week we just got some of the greatest Star Wars to ever exist. And that's saying something. And this week we might actually have even more of that. More peak is on the way, chat, with episode 10, 11, and 12 tomorrow. So, we got to predict what's going down in these 3 episodes, what's actually going to happen, who's going to die, who's going to show up, and how these last 3 episodes are going to top last week. I don't think it's possible, but it could be. It could be. Because this show currently sits at a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. 98. And that means that these 3 episodes have to stay at that 98% range for this show to actually be a 98 out of 100. Because those people who gave it a 98 out of 100 have seen all 12 episodes. So throw your craziest predictions into the chat, and while you do so, let's say hi to everybody in that chat, shall we? Ryan, what is up? Droopy McCool in the house. Ron, how we doing? Brandon Baker, what is up? JC, how we doing? Nick, what is up? Starship 66 in the house. Tafari Tano, what is up? Susan, how we doing? Kit Fisto in the house. 50 Thunder, what is up? Light Blinded Fool, how we doing? Trent, what is up? 730 Evie in the house. Fearless, what is up? Adam, how we doing? WUV Grad, what is up? Ian in the house. Scratch Not, how we doing? If I missed you, you know the deal. Mr. Slash X, Chris, what's up? If I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Yell at me, chat. God. Well, let's give everybody a nice little
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay. Dead Mike, what's up? How we doing? Okay. So, I think the best place we should start is with this website here. Actually, wait. No, I scratched that. Because just about 50 minutes ago, right before this stream started, they released a new teaser trailer, or 30-second spot, whatever you want to call it, trailer for Andor Season 2. Probably the final trailer we will ever get. I know there's millions upon millions of trailers at this point, but this seems to be the last one. So let's watch it. Let's watch it, Jet. Let's watch it. All right. This is it. 38 seconds. Let's watch the whole thing. I got a feeling it's going to be sad because there's a lot of Bics already.
It is a choice. I can't be the reason you leave here. We have to win. We have to beat them. And I believe you have purpose in making that happen. I need to believe that. So I'm choosing for the both of us. I'm choosing the rebellion.
Damn. Why are they going to do us like that, chat? Why are they going to do us like that? I'm not crying, you're crying. Let's watch it again.
It is a choice. I can't be the reason you leave here. We have to win. We have to beat them. And I believe you have purpose in making that happen. I need to believe that. So I'm choosing for the both of us. I'm choosing the rebellion.
Okay, well, that was pretty much just a Cassian and Bix hype video. But the weird thing about that is the trailer that dropped an hour ago. Just 1 hour ago. The final, seemingly final trailer for Andor Season 2. I'll get to that super chat in just a sec. 1 sec. The final trailer for Season 2. No new scenes. It seems like for a specific reason, and I don't know what it is yet, but for a specific reason, they are keeping us in the dark moving into this finale. I know we're going to talk about all the scenes from the original trailers for this series that dropped months and months and months ago. Those scenes we haven't seen yet, and we can kind of piece together what's going down in these final 3 episodes. But really, in terms of plot, we don't know much. Luthen is likely to die. Leia is likely to die. Wilmon likely to die. And so many others need to go a long way before we see them in Rogue One. Saw Gerrera specifically, he's got to get his legs blown off. And unless that happens off screen, well, then what the hell's going down in this episode? Or all these 3 episodes? If Saw Gerrera is actually getting his legs blown off, I don't know. But we also have to see Mon Mothma with the shorter hair and actually give a close to this series while also setting up Rogue One. There's a lot that needs to go down in just 3 episodes. It almost seems like we are running out of time and we need more time. But there is a year gap between episode 9 and episode 10. And in episode 10, or at least the rumor is, that we will learn about Luthen's backstory. Was he a Jedi? Was he a Sith? Was he just a nobody? What was he? Who was he? That's what we're going to find out. But tell me in the chat what you think it is. And that's very strange that trailer gave us zero new footage. Crazy. Okay. Learn with Kyan. What's up? I appreciate the $2 holla. Says, what is the one prediction that you are most sure about? Honestly, none of them. But the one I'm probably the most sure about would be Luthen's death. I feel like because of his significance to the rebellion, because of his significance to Cassian himself, the loss of that character will mean so much. He's been the mentor for Cassian over the last 4 or 5 years through the course of these 2 seasons, and his death will be such a meaningful one to Cassian specifically, moving into Rogue One. The reason that he's the leader that he is in that movie is because of Luthen, and I think his death is going to be the most important one because Bix isn't dead. Bix's probably would have been a little bit more important because they have that whole big relationship, but she's not dead. She just leaves for the greater good, and that's almost even more heart-wrenching. But Luthen's death, I think, is probably the most confident I am in any of my predictions right now, is that Luthen will die. I know some of you are like, no, Luthen's not dying. Luthen's not dying. He's not dying. But I don't know. It seems highly likely that he's going to die. But I appreciate the super chat. I really, really do. Super chats, memberships, keep the lights on over here. So I appreciate it. Okay. I saw some previews with Vader in them. Are those real? He had to be in the last episode. No. So the problem with YouTube, the problem with the ability with AI now and all these great editing techniques and whatever, there's a lot of fake trailers made online. You'll see a bunch of like Andor Season 2 trailer, and it's not real. It'll involve like Vader and Palpatine and whatever. It's not real. Unless it has Lucasfilm or Disney Plus or the official Star Wars account. It's not real. Yeah, so no. Will Vader be in the finale? Well, that's another question because that could happen. But those trailers that are online, they're fake. Yeah, they are fake. I think I was thinking of something that could lead more to the theory of her being pregnant. Okay, I've heard this quite a bit over the last couple of days, and I want to clear the air here. So many fans desperately want a continuation of Andor Season 2. I understand. I get it. We're trying to cope with the fact that we'll never see Andor ever again because he dies on the beaches of Scarif. Spoiler alert! But the likelihood of us getting a spin-off show with Bix or any of these characters is highly unlikely. When you look at the future content for the Star Wars universe, we've talked about how the focus is going to be on the Mandoverse, on Ahsoka Season 2, in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, in Dave Filoni's Mandoverse movie, The Heir to the Empire. I really, really doubt that they would make a Bix spin-off show. for a few different reasons. One being the numbers for Andor, although it's one of the greatest shows to ever exist, not greatest Star Wars shows, greatest shows, period, to ever exist. It doesn't get the numbers that would indicate a spin-off show is necessary. And Bix, specifically, a lot of fans don't even know who that is. People who don't watch Andor, they don't even know who that is. And I love the theory and also hate the theory that she could be pregnant and going off to live with B2 on a farm. I get it. We're all nice people. We all want the best for everybody, but that's not how this show is. That's not how the reality of this rebellion goes. These characters die, and they die in horrible ways. And hang on.
I got a bad feeling about this.
It's just not likely. We'll put it that way. So the theory is that Bix is pregnant. She leaves to save the child. She leaves to keep Cassian with the rebellion. She goes off with B2 and they live a happy life forever. And then she has the kid and she names the kid Cassian. And then we get Cassian 2.0. And then it's all, woohoo, yeah, Cassian season 3 with new Cassian Andor Jr., the second one. No, it's not going to happen. That's just not how these things work. Bix is not going to be getting a spin-off show, and it's not going to happen. Clip that when they announce the Bix show, and we get Cassian's son, and we get the happily ever after, and Cassian Jr., and all that fun stuff. Clip it. But I am 99.9% sure that is not going to happen. But you tell me in the chat. Yeah. Do I think there'll be a post-credit scene? Again, with a very generous $2 holla. I appreciate it. No. Actually, I take that back. Maybe. Usually I would say no. But Andor Season 1 did have a post-credit scene. And it was the Death Star. It wasn't much, but it was still cool and alluded to the Death Star itself. We'll talk about in this stream the Death Star and its importance in these last 3 episodes, especially with Krennic being involved. But if there were to be a post-credit scene, it would be that Bix happy ending. She probably wouldn't be pregnant. No. But it would just be like assuring the fans that she is safe. And she is happy. Maybe with B2 too, which would be cool. They set up B2 to be sidelined in the first 3 episodes, and maybe Bix goes off to find him. Possibly. That would probably be the only logical post-credit scene, because this is supposed to lead directly into Rogue One. Meaning, because a lot of fans are kind of confused about that, meaning the final scene before the credits of this Andor Season 2 is going to be leading directly into the scene where Cassian walks down that alleyway to meet Tivik. Is his name Tivik? Somebody help me out in the chat. Tivik in that alleyway, the guy with the hurt arm, and then he actually ends up killing that guy. So that's going to be where it ends up. Cassian is late for that meeting. Why he's late for that meeting, what mission he was on before that meeting, well, that will be the final scenes of Andor Season 2. The explanation of that will be the final scenes of this second season. So that's what we're looking at here. That's how this show will end. A post-credit scene would have to be alluding to some other characters like Bix, not Cassian, not Jyn Erso. Yeah, it is Tivik. Nice. See that, chat? I can remember a name. Bix hooks up with Perrin. Oh my.
Incorrect.
Okay. No, thank you. Nope. No, thanks. I have to miss the watch party tomorrow. It's going to start around 2 a.m. here, and I have work at 4:30 a.m. You know what? You should just call out. Just skip work. Just skip it. Just skip it. If it's supposed to lead directly into Rogue One, it wouldn't make sense to have a post-credit scene. Well, again, yeah, it would have to be not Cassian. Like, it would have to be a Bix post-credit scene or somebody else, you know? I think Wednesday should just be like a holiday. Should we make it like a national holiday? Andor Season 2 finale day? Might as well, right? Might as well. Could Krennic be heading to Galen Erso's home in the post-credit scene? No, because that happened like 10 years ago. Actually, more like 15 years ago. Galen Erso's been working on the Death Star for the last decade at least. because when we see Jyn Erso, she's like 8 years old at the beginning of Rogue One. So, and then she's 22 years old during the events of Rogue One. There's a huge time gap there. So that already happened. That happened a while ago. But you bring up a great point in the first question of the day, in the first poll of the day as well. And that is, will Galen Erso, father of Jyn Erso and the architect of the Death Star, be in this second season finale? You tell me in the chat, and while you do, let me put up this poll. Do you think Galen Erso will be in the finale? Yes or no? What do we think, chat? Because we're going to be getting a lot, and I mean a lot, of the Death Star in these final 3 episodes. And if you don't believe me, well, check this out. So this is a trailer from months ago, but the opening of this trailer is Krennic looking at the Death Star. One of very few scenes from all these thousands of different trailers that we've received. One of very few scenes that we haven't seen yet. We're going to go through all of them, but this is one of the most important ones. More Krennic, more Death Star. Oh, that's very quiet. Hang on.
Resistance.
Now this is the only trailer where we see this one. This is the sort of front facing of Krennic here, where he's looking out the window.
Resistance to the
And then he's there. And as he says, resistance to the Empire is absurd.
to the Empire is absurd.
And we know that is Dedra being interrogated. So the crazy part about this, and we'll get to it in the other trailer that we're about to watch, but the audio here,
To the Empire.
the audio here where Krennic is staring at the Death Star, is from the interrogation scene where he is interrogating Dedra. And you have to piece these 2 different trailers together to get this to be one whole story, to get it to make sense, if you will. Hang on, we got another super chat. So actually, the super chat is perfect because I can pull up the next trailer and explain what I mean here. Perfectly timed super chat. Thank you. Okay, let's read it too. Light blinded fool with a very generous $10 holla. Holy crap, I appreciate that. Says, if Clea dies, I will stop watching for at least 5 minutes. Wow. Okay, so Clea, I think, will die. So I think you might not be watching. But hopefully, yeah, I think she'll die. We'll just leave it at that, I guess. So what I'm talking about here and how we're sort of piecing this whole 3-episode arc together is this scene from this trailer.
Resistance.
Why is it so quiet, Jet?
Resistance is absurd.
So he's saying resistance,
Resistance is
and it cuts away. And then the sound says is absurd. But this is right here, resistance, and cut away. Resistance, cut away. But the scene where he's saying this dialogue is when he's interrogating Dedra right there in the same seat where Dedra interrogated Cyril. Now, this means so much more now because, yes, in episode 8, Cyril dies! Cyril dies! Spoiler alert. So, yeah, Cyril is dead. So now when Dedra sits in the same seat that Cyril sat in all those years ago, she's going to feel that so much more. So much more. And we do now know that the real dialogue here is not resistance is absurd. It's resistance to the Empire is absurd. Meaning, I think Krennic thinks that Dedra is defecting, and he might just be right. Dedra might be defecting. We saw at the end of episode 8 on Gorman, she is freaking out, holding her neck, shaking, absolutely freaking out because Cyril is now dead and she just slaughtered thousands of innocent Gormans. Okay? And with that, who knows what Dedra is doing a year later because episode 10 is a year after episode 9. So what state, what headspace is Dedra in at this point? Is she still even with the Empire? Is she still even on the side of the bad guys anymore? You guys tell me in the comments, because this scene right here,
Resistance is absurd.
he is not saying resistance is absurd when he's interrogating Dedra. No, he is saying
Resistance to the Empire is absurd.
resistance to the Empire is absurd. So Dedra might just do the same thing that Cyril did, and Cyril might have been the catalyst for Dedra to do this, but Dedra might flip. Now, the reasoning I bring this up, and it's going to be so important, is because Denise, who plays the actress who plays Dedra in season 2, has been talking about in all the press junkets and all the crazy stuff that Dedra is going to be really, really bad in this second season. Like, zero redeeming qualities. Bad. In the first season, you were like, oh yeah, girl boss, woohoo, yeah, great. No. Season 2 is just full-on Dedra bad. Bad. What if, like many actors do before, she's lying? What if she's telling us this because we can't know that Dedra has this crazy redemption arc due to Cyril's death in episode 8? And the reason she's being interrogated by Krennic is because she is losing faith in the Empire. I got a feeling that Dedra's arc in this last 3 episodes might just be the most important. Because she kinda, sorta has to die. I know. We are, like 20 minutes into this prediction stream and have already predicted like 12 deaths. Dedra sorta, kinda has to die. Now, the reasoning for that is because she's not in Rogue One. And she's a very quickly ascending Imperial officer. But the death of Cyril clearly took a toll on her. We saw that at the end of episode 8. So a year later, after that, maybe she came back to Coruscant, got her big promotion, but still, she's missing a giant gaping hole in her heart, or what she considers a heart, and that is Cyril. And maybe she just doesn't want to do it anymore. But resistance to the Empire is absurd. So here's the craziness that could go down. We know that Krennic dies to Tarkin, his boss. So it's almost like a chain of command type deal, where Krennic could be the one who kills Dedra. Now, I'm actually going to pull this up in the chat. Dedra's death in this finale. Let's see what you guys think of this. By the way, 61% of you guys say yes, you think that Galen Erso will be in this finale. That's pretty wild. But let's put this up. Do you think Dedra will die in this finale? And if so, how? Who kills her? Is it Krennic? Is it Cassian? Is it Luthen? And the reason I bring up Luthen is because there are 2 very specific scenes from the trailers that we haven't seen yet that show Dedra in Luthen's gallery. By far, the most important of the remaining scenes that we haven't seen yet. By far. I love this theory that Cringe Corp brings up, and somebody brought it up in the last stream. But the theory that this is a showdown between Dedra and Clea, and Clea has to sacrifice herself to blow up the entire gallery, killing her and Dedra. Now, that would be insane. That would be insane. But I actually kind of have a rebuttal to that theory, because we know at least that Leia survives a little bit longer than this. At least, maybe. The events of what I'm going to show you in a little bit could take place before this, and that would mean that Clea could still be dead in here. But I think she might actually survive this. It could be that Luthen is in the gallery, and he sacrifices himself, killing Dedra, and not allowing the Empire to get back to the rebellion. But the big question needs to be asked. How the fuck did she find Luthen's gallery? How'd she do it? How did she know where to go? I thought she was off axis. What's going on here? What's going on? Oh, there's definitely a self-destruct switch. in the store, in the gallery. 100%. Yes. 1,000,000%. Yeah. Absolutely. Really, super stickers don't get the scream? JT with a very generous $5 super sticker. I appreciate that quite a bit. So how does she find Luthen's gallery? How does she get here? And by the way, the mysterious knife/dagger that we were talking about last stream, I figured it out. Here it is, first of all. But this is Dedra holding it. I mean, this is obviously the same outfit, same black belt buckle thing down there, and this is the same outfit. So this is just her in the antique shop. She's just looking at this antique. So this knife specifically probably doesn't have that much meaning to it. Maybe maybe they're gonna be like another Rakatan artifact or something. Who knows? It could be anything. But this is Dedra, and she is in the gallery in this scene and in this scene. So she'll be there, confirmed. Like, this is not a one-off thing. This is not a trailer magic type deal. This is, they revealed too much. just a little bit. They revealed too much. Yeah. So the question now becomes, how does this end? Is she there because she is kind of turning to the light side? She is going to maybe become a rebel? I don't know. But she could be the one who tells Leia that there is a weapon. Let's not forget about that. Let's not forget about that, because in this trailer right here, right after he says this,
Resistance is absurd.
we get this.
It's a weapon. They're building a weapon.
So Leia, who looks like she's in some pretty rough shape here, not dressed up as she usually is, or she's sort of freaking out, knows about the Death Star, or at least knows that there is a weapon of some sort that the Empire has. She doesn't maybe know that it's a planet-killing weapon. She maybe doesn't know that it's the Death Star specifically, but she knows about a big old weapon. Now, how does she find that out? Well, maybe, just maybe, Dedra Meero herself told her. Maybe because she wants to become a rebel now and she's trying to give them some intelligence. I don't know. Or maybe because she thinks she's there to kill them. And telling them the information of there's a weapon, a planet-killing weapon that the Death Star is building, you're telling ghosts. It doesn't matter. You're going to kill them anyway. But somehow, some way, Leia escapes with that information. The information that Dedra tells them. So clearly, one way or another, the way that Leia gets the information of the Death Star's existence is highly likely to be from Dedra herself. Whether she's turning and defecting from the Empire or just telling them because there's no use because they're going to die. Tell me what you think in the comments. How do you think they find out about the gallery? Do you think they find out that Lonnie is a spy? Honestly, I think Lonnie's a goner. Yeah, I think what we're going to see in episode 10, 11, 12 is the downfall of Luthen's side of the rebellion. And the only way that Luthen can almost disconnect himself from the rest of the rebellion growing on Yavin is because he's never been there. The reason that it's so important that in episodes 7, 8, and 9 from last week, we saw Luthen is so disconnected from Yavin. The reason that's important is because the Empire never finds Yavin, at least not until the Battle of Yavin in episode 4. So the reason that Luthen can get caught and Dedra will catch him, the reason that all this can go down is because he is not connected to Yavin. And Dedra probably just thinks that Luthen is the kingpin of the rebel organization, and if she takes him out, well, then the rebels are done. And it's Dedra, so she's probably working alone and not telling anybody else what she's doing. Yeah. So I think the reasoning that Luthen will never go to Yavin, the reasoning that he was so disconnected from the rest of the rebels last week, is because he's going to make the ultimate sacrifice. And his sacrifice will actually make the Empire think that the rebellion is a lot weaker than it really is. Yeah. That's what I think. But yes, Lonnie is most likely a goner. It's more a question of how he dies. That's the crazy part here. That's the crazy part. Let's talk about this for just a quick second. when you look at these last 3 episodes and characters that don't appear in Rogue One that either need to die or need their story to be explained in some great way where it's like they didn't die, but this happened, like Bix. Bix didn't die, but she leaves the rebellion for the greater good, for Cassian, whatever. So they either have to do that or kill them off. And that character list is really, 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 really long. When you think about it, not only is it big characters like Luthen and Dedra, but it's Clea, it's Wilmot, it's Lonnie, it's all these connections to the rebellion that need to go bye-bye. They're not in Rogue One. Vel, even, because Vel is now training all these newcomers to the rebellion, talking to Melshi in episode 9, but she's not in Rogue One. And she's got a good reason to be. The cousin of Mon Mothma was on the first real rebellion mission with Cassian on Aldhani. She would be in Rogue One. She'd be on the team to go to Scarif. But she's not. So characters like that need to die. And the only way that you can really kill off that many characters in 3 episodes is if there's a big old battle. Yes, you can have stuff like this where possibly you could take out Dedra and Luthen at the same time, but you need a big old battle to get rid of characters like Vel and Wilmon. So I think we're not going to go down, like, the Gorman Massacre was enormous last week. It was this huge event in the Star Wars timeline. But there might be another one before Rogue One that we just don't even know about yet. Something big, some big fight that could go down. We know that at least there's going to be one firefight. And that brings us to our next trailer. Let me get to this. So, oh, hang on. We got a super chat. Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $10 hollow. Oh my God, you guys are feeling extra generous today. I appreciate it. Says, this is it, with a crying face emoji. I know. So sad. Can't wait to see who dies, right, Mike? Okay, I get it. I predict a lot of deaths, chat. I get it. But the reality of the situation is a lot of people got to die. A lot of people got to die. So I'm not crazy. You're crazy. But seriously, what are the chances we see a legacy character? Much love to you and Sam. Well, much love right back to you. And what are the chances we see a legacy character? Well, I want you to hold on to that thought. You guys in the chat can tell me what you guys think, but hang on to that thought for a second because I want to continue down the path of where I'm at, and then we'll talk about legacy characters because there's a bunch that could appear. But I believe it is this trailer. It might be this one, though. It might actually be the other one, though. Too many trailers, chat! Okay, but let's just take a look at this. So, this trailer specifically came out during Star Wars Celebration and does give us a bunch of new scenes. So take a look at this.
I came with you to be part of something.
Right off the bat. Now, sorry. Obviously, Yavin 4 is going to play a huge role in these final 3 episodes, but the Empire can never find out about the base on Yavin because that information doesn't get revealed until A New Hope. So, this is the Cassian Andor look of Rogue One, which is pretty dang cool, and it's going to lead directly into Rogue One. But what goes down on Yavin 4? That's got to be the real question. Gorman was another Operation Cinder, let's be real. Kind of, but it wasn't called Operation Cinder, you know? It wasn't in the same vein. Operation Cinder is a little bit different, too, because it's after the death of Palpatine. It's more of like a contingency plan type deal. Yeah, but okay. Yeah.
It's a different kind of mission.
Pause. Sorry, I was taking a drink. Go back. Rewind it. This. We know for a fact that Cassian and K2 will be going back to Coruscant in this week's 3 episodes. We know that. And the reason we know that is because right here, right now, we see this scene that we haven't seen before. Seen this scene that we haven't seen before. That's a lot of scenes. But this is the U-Wing that Cassian and K2 fly in quite a bit. And what I think's going on here is Cassian, K2, and Melshi are on a rescue mission to go save Leia. Not Luthen, Leia. Bear with me.
It means so much to reconnect with the cast of Andor. It's this amazing story that is so important for all of us.
If it goes up in flames,
It will burn. Very
it
brightly.
will burn very brightly.
You see so much growth and so much destruction.
The Death Star.
So the evolution of these characters is pretty intense.
Just a quick side note, chat. What do we think happened to Perrin? Just a quick side note. What do we think happened to Perrin? The husband of Mon Mothma. Very important character through the first 6 episodes. Not seen once in episodes 7, 8, or 9, and completely just disappears because Mon Mothma leaves Coruscant. What happens to Perrin? I wonder if they'll ever even actually clean that up. If they'll actually even reveal what's going on there. You know? Oh my God, Jordan Rennie, what is up with the very generous 2187? That is the most random super chat I've ever received in my life. But I appreciate it, Jordan. I really, really do. You guys tell me in the chat, what's going on with Perrin while I read this super chat? Jordan with the very generous 2187 says, who would be your dream cameo for the finale, or for the final trilogy? I extend my question to the fellow people who love Star Wars. Who would be my dream cameo? Honestly, Leia Organa. It'd be cool to see like the Ghost Crew and maybe Vader or whatever, and we'll talk about that. But Leia, it's Leia, it's Leia. It's Leia. It's Leia. Yeah, it's Leia. But you guys tell me in the chat, who would it be for you? And where is Perrin?
Is pretty intense.
The actors, they were so great. You start to realize what you can write for. Everything's in play. Everything's in motion. Nobody can escape the crushing power of the Empire.
We need to speak out. We need to stand up.
There is peril at every corner.
She said, did she just say there was Perrin at every corner?
With the script of Tony's caliber, the depth and the humanity, I think it's very beautiful. There's something more here, and you
Leia crying. A lot of Leia and Luthen in these 3 episodes. I can pretty much guarantee, I guarantee it, that we will see. Oh, I get it. Cell block 2185. I got you. I get it. Okay. Nicely done. But I didn't even know you could customize how much of a super chat you could send in. I thought it was like a set amount. That's pretty good. But a lot of Leia and Luthen in these final 3 episodes, because they're probably both going to die. But yeah.
something more here, and you feel it.
But if I'm giving up everything,
Okay. So this is where things get really interesting.
everything.
Whoops. And it's a blink, you miss it type deal. This, and we talked about this a little bit last stream, but we're going to dive way more deep into it. This is the hallway to the safe room on Coruscant. We've seen the safe room through episodes 4 through 9, I believe. In 4 through 6, Cassian and Bix are living there on Coruscant. And then a year later, they've gone to Yavin, and the safe house is used for Mon Mothma as she escapes Coruscant. Also, Wilmon is there, and he's hurt, and that whole ordeal happens. But the safe house is going to continue to be a very important location in this finale, in these final 3 episodes. As these Imperial officers, stormtroopers without helmets on, they are walking down the same hallway to get to that safe house. Now, who is currently in that safe house is going to be pretty damn important, because I think, nay, I say I might just know that who is in that safe house is Clea, Cassian, and Melshi. Not K2SO, because K2SO is on his way inside. This is him breaking and entering. Okay, hang on. We got a super chat. Toy Master with a very generous 27 of something. I appreciate it. Hang on. What did it say, though? I can't see it. I can't see. Oh, there it is. Did the Force Healer work for Luthen? Did the Force Healer work for Luthen? Oh, like work for Luthen. I was thinking like, did it work on Luthen? No. Actually, it's actually a great question, but I don't think so. I think the sort of idea of giving the Force Healer and this person telling Cassian about his significance and how important he is to the rebellion was more so for Bix than anybody. Because it was more so to show Bix that Cassian is too important to ever leave this place. And his willingness and want to leave with you, Bix specifically, means that she has to leave. I think a lot of that stuff with the Force Healer, not only was it cool because it was like, you're the messenger, which he literally is because he's the messenger who sends the Death Star plans to the rebellion on Scarif. That's awesome. But it was more so for Bix to prove that Cassian is so important to this rebellion and he cannot leave. So I think that was more so for Bix. Yeah. It's crazy to me that they literally added a Force Healer in episode 7. And because episode 8 and episode 9 were so good, nobody was even talking about it. A Force Healer. We've only ever seen like a handful of Force users. Rey, Grogu, Barriss Offee. And then you got to get into Legends. Yeah. You got to get into Legends. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how that goes down. Oh my God. Jordan ready with an insane $66 super chat. Insane. Order 66. I appreciate it.
Execute Order 66.
Says Galen Urso cameo, please, Mr. Gilroy. Galen Urso would be pretty cool. Not going to lie. But getting back to this trailer, I think what's going on here is that this safe house or safe room, whatever you want to call it, on Coruscant is being infiltrated by the Empire, and K2SO, Cassian, and Melshi are trying to help Leia escape from Coruscant because she has the information. She knows about this planet-killing weapon, or at least she knows of its existence, and she was just confronted by Dedra. Now, maybe Luthen died in this process, or maybe he hasn't, but I don't know. You guys tell me in the chat, because that's what's going down right here. This is the hallway to the safe house.
I want to win. It's smart, it's emotional, it's human. We have to. And it just happens to be in a galaxy far, far away.
We must stand together. We will be crushed.
Welcome to the...
Oh, I thought it was in this trailer. It's not. All right, hang on. One more trailer. One more trailer, because there's more evidence to suggest that. Not only is this the safe house from on Coruscant as well, but I believe it's in this trailer too, right? Maybe it's not. What the heck? Maybe it's not. Oh, wait. Nope. Okay, I think it's both in the other trailer. Okay. Okay. I think this... Yeah, Leia dying. I mean, Leia crying is probably due to Luthen's death, but there's one more in this trailer too.
The Empire cannot win.
Saw Gerrera. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Last week, I thought Saw was going to play a huge role in those episodes 7, 8, and 9. With Gorman specifically because of the Rhydonium and the setup of that being explosive and all this stuff. That didn't happen. Wilmon played a huge role in the Gorman Massacre, but Saw did not. So this is Jeddah. This is Saw on Jeddah. But how is he really going to even play a role? Because think about it. We don't really know what the plot of these final 3 episodes are going to be. But if Saw's really just hanging out on Jeddah, well then what are we gonna see? What's gonna go down? Like nothing? We're just gonna get a good look at Saw. Something has to happen with Saw Gerrera in these last 3 episodes. I don't know what it is. You guys tell me in the chat. Because the last time we saw him, he did not look like this. He had his legs. He didn't have the oxygen mask or the Rhydonium mask, whatever you want to call it. And he looked a lot younger. So Saw's been through it. Will we actually see how he lost his legs? Will we get the information that we've been begging for? Or will they just leave it open-ended? But there's one more trailer that I want to get to because it has one more piece of evidence to suggest that safe room on Coruscant, not Gorman. That safe room on Coruscant is the key to at least one piece of this plot coming into the finale. I believe it's this trailer, but let's check it out. We are not playing the audio on this one, chat. We are not doing it. Okay, we're just not doing it because every single time Lucasfilm is like, I know we put this great song into the trailer, but we're gonna copyright you every single time you play it. So we're not doing it. We're not doing it. But let's fast forward here. They are keeping K2SO quite the secret, actually, in these trailers because he's going to be heavily involved in these final 3 episodes. This. Perfect. I knew I'd find it. So this is Melshi. And this is... Oops. And if we pause it in the perfect frame here, right there, you can see one of those stormtrooper without their helmets on, those Imperial Guard type deals. Those guys are outside. This is that same Coruscant safe room. So Melshi, Cassian, and Clea are all inside, and K2SO seems to be with the ship and probably coming in to save the day as well. Getting to see some more K2SO in action is going to be great. But they seem to be pinned in, and that's why K2 is going to save the day. But how the Empire finds them? How is that? The big question, there's a lot of questions that remain, but here's the deal. How does the Empire find them in their safe room? It's supposed to be a safe room. And how does Dedra find the gallery? There's a lot of how. How. The trailer is giving some information away, but the how of it all is lost, completely lost. How does she get to the gallery? How does she know the gallery exists? How does she know this? How does she know that? And how on earth, oops, wrong trailer. How on earth does the Empire find the super secret safe house on Coruscant? Somebody's leaking information. Somebody's figuring it out. Mustache double crosses Luthen? Really? I think you mean Lonnie by when you say mustache. Really? You guys think that Lonnie's gonna flip after years of being involved with the rebellion? You think he's gonna flip? 50 Thunder with a very generous $5 holla. You guys are feeling extra generous today. I appreciate it quite a bit. Says, are those troopers without helmets flying the patrol vehicles chasing Cassian's U-wing between the buildings? I don't know, are they? Can we even see that? Shit, what trailer was that in? Oh, this one. Cameos?
It's a different kind of...
I can't see who's flying. What do you think I have? Crazy... I don't know. What has great vision? Owls? No. What has really good vision, Jet? Is it owls? I don't even know. What do you think? I have owl eyes? I don't think... I don't even know. I don't know. But there seems to be a defector in the rebellion. There seems to be a defector. And somebody's leaking information, and I guess Lonnie's the only option here. But somebody finds somebody leaks the information about the gallery, and somebody tells them about the super secret safe room on Coruscant. Perrin? Oh, that would be devastating. Imagine. Holy, because Perrin would know 2 specific details here. 1, he would know that Mon Mothma goes to Luthen's gallery way too much. And 2, Mon Mothma went to this safe room. So what if somehow, some way, Perrin knew her location? Track her iPhone? Maybe he tracked her iPhone. Find my iPhone? Mike, go back to the one scene close to the end of the video you were last on. One scene close to the end of you gotta be more specific than this video? I don't know what you mean. Perrin was looking at Luthen and Clea. Perrin was looking at Luthen and Clay. What do you mean? It was an Imperial Inquisitor ship. That's the cops are flying around. Those square things. Were those Inquisitor ships? Dr. Dedra knows all? Doesn't seem like she does. It really doesn't seem like she does. Either way, I feel like Tony Gilroy is about to blow our freaking minds with the writing in these last 3 episodes, because how the Empire finds the super secret safe room and Dedra finds Luthen's gallery is going to be insanely important. And to write your way into that, or I guess out of that, is going to be very, very interesting. Yeah. Do we know for sure we have a rat in our midst? I mean, we don't know for sure, but how else would they find the super secret safe room? You know? Perrin at the wedding is staring at Luthen and Clea. You're right. So in episode 1, or maybe 2, in one of the first 2 episodes of the series, when they're at the wedding, setting up for the wedding, Clea and Luthen are having a conversation. And there's just a weird scene where Perrin is just sitting there staring at them. Oh my goodness. Imagine Perrin is the snitch. Imagine Perrin rats out the rebellion. Oh my God. I never even thought about this. I thought Perrin was like turning into a nice guy. We thought he was going to be great. Mon's husband knew everything all along. Well, he does have pretty good intelligence on where Mon would be at all times, you know? I don't know. I have faith in Perrin. I feel like he's a good guy, you know? I don't see him turning on everyone. I'm excited to see our favorite princess at the end. I don't know, because Rogue One ends with Princess Leia. So the likelihood of seeing Leia yet again in these final 3 episodes, it seems a little unlikely, but at the same time, you got more Bail Organa coming in, so maybe it is likely. I don't know. Michael Anthony says, just got here. Where can I find this new trailer? New trailer? The one we watched before? That one would be on Twitter. The 30-second one? The only place I found it was on Twitter. The X, formerly known as Twitter. I need a Greedo cameo? Well, that seems highly unlikely. So now that I've gotten my crazy prediction out of the way, or I guess what we've pieced together from these remaining scenes of not only will the super secret safe room be compromised, but also Dedra will find the gallery, probably leading to Luthen's death, and maybe even Dedra's death as well, with the self-destruction button possibly in the gallery. But also, Krennic is interrogating Dedra, and he's saying resistance to the Empire is absurd. So possibly seeing that Dedra could be resisting the Empire, not too sure. But it's going to be a very poetic type deal, because in the same room that Dedra interrogated Cyril, the love of her life, the one who died in episode 8, she's going to be interrogated by Krennic. Craziness. However, those are the tiny little pieces we've gotten, the scenes that we know of from from these final 3 episodes. Clea knows of the Death Star. They're in the super secret safe room. Melshi, Cassian, K2 are there to rescue Clea, but not Luthen, because Luthen's probably dead. That's all we really know, or we think we know. We're piecing it together piece by piece by piece by piece. Now we got to talk about the absurds, the craziness, the Vaders, the Leias, the Ghost, the Harrison Doulas, the Choppers, the crazy possible legacy characters, as Darth Plagueis said in his super chat, the legacy characters that could appear in this series. So let's talk about it. First things first, let's talk about Princess Leia Organa. So let's end this poll. Wow. And you guys think I'm the one killing off everybody. 83% of you say yes, you think that Dedra will die in this finale. I think so too, but you know, you guys said it, not me. Okay. Do you think Leia will be in the finale? Yes or no? Yes or no? Princess Leia Organa of Alderaan. And before you start going, no, Mike, you're an idiot, hear me out. Bail Organa played a huge role in episode 9. And not only that, he did allude to being on Yavin 4 next year. So not only will we get Mon Mothma with a nice trimmed haircut that we see in Rogue One, but we will also see Bail Organa on Yavin. And we'll get a lot of Yavin in these next 3 episodes. But we'll see Bail Organa there. And with Bail Organa, shouldn't there be his daughter, Leia? Because Leia is also involved with politics at this age. We're going right into Rogue One. Rogue One goes right into A New Hope, meaning if we see Leia this week, if we see Leia tomorrow, I should say, she will be 19. She'll be the same age as we see her in Rogue One and in A New Hope. So it's not that absurd to think that we could see her on Yavin 4 or even on Coruscant. We're going back to Coruscant. We're going back. So you tell me in the chat. And if you think yes, if you think we will be seeing Leia, do you think they will deepfake her or recast her? I personally think it will be deepfake because she's deepfaked in Rogue One. And if she does have an appearance, it will be a very small one or maybe even just a mention. Who knows? But you tell me in the chat. You tell me in the chat. Corey Olson with a very generous $5 holla. I appreciate that. Says the shot of Dedra holding the blaster looks more like Davos's gallery than Luthen's. There isn't enough artifacts for it to be Luthen's. Well, as much as I'd love to say I agree, I wholeheartedly disagree. This is Luthen's gallery. I mean, we see this exact wall in Luthen's gallery. Actually, let's see if I just look up Luthen's gallery if it shows up. Luthen's gallery. Oh, perfect. Perfectenschlag. Okay. Perfectenschlag. Hope that's not what I meant to do. This image right here perfectly shows us where she's even standing. So this is from season 1 with Mon Mothma and Luthen having a conversation. This wall behind them is the exact wall she's standing in front of. And right under Mon Mothma's chin here is that same Twi'lek artifact that is in the same frame. So this is the exact same wall. You see the indent. You see the sort of the thing going across there. This artifact is right under Mon Mothma's chin right there. You can see it's the same wall. It's got like a piano on the top there. It's got the piano on the top there. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely Luthen's gallery, which is just unbelievably cool. Jordan with a very generous $10 holla. Holy crap, Jordan, you're insane. Says a Tarkin cameo, possibly the biggest question mark I have. Tarkin's a very interesting one. I'm going to leave that Leia poll up there for a second, but Tarkin. Let's talk about the Grand Moff. So we know in Rogue One, Tarkin plays a big role. He takes over the reins of the Death Star by literally killing Krennic. Killing Krennic with the Death Star. It's pretty brutal. Now, we've gotten a few mentions of Tarkin, like we've gotten a few mentions of Palpatine and Colonel why can't I pronounce his name? I think my brain is broken, Jet. I'm done trying. But Tarkin, on the other hand, it's very difficult to do because you have to deepfake him, just like you did with Leia in Rogue One. You'd have to deepfake him. And there was that whole scandal of, are we doing the right thing? They're getting sued for using his likeness in Rogue One and all that stuff. So Tarkin is a very, very interesting one. So tell me in the chat, do you think we will see Tarkin in this finale? Yes or no? Inklet, what's up? How we doing?
Hello there.
Yeah. I agree, though, that Tarkin can be likely. Yeah, it is likely. Yeah. Wow, a lot of yeses, a lot of nos. Disney would recast rather than deepfake. I don't think so. Because when you look at certain legacy characters like Leia, Tarkin, Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker, they've deepfaked those characters. Anakin in Ahsoka, deepfake. Anakin in Kenobi, deepfake. Leia and Tarkin in Rogue One and in Rise of Skywalker, deepfake. So it seems like when they go to legacy characters, they tend to deepfake them. Now, they will recast them time and time again, but it seems like they're going down the route of deepfake. If we're getting any legacy characters, it will be deepfake. However, you might say, Mike, you're an idiot because you forgot about Bail Organa. That's true. A little strange, but they did recast Bail Organa. The difference there, though, is Bail Organa is not nearly as important, no offense, as Leia or Luke or anything like that. So it's a tad bit different. Yeah. We could do that. We could definitely do that. Let's do a poll of who's most likely to appear. Leia, Tarkin, Vader, or Palpatine. I think we should replace the Palpatine one because I really doubt after the way that last week's episodes went that Palpatine will be in it. So I need a fourth option, chat. I need a fourth option. Leia, Tarkin, Vader, or like Harrison Dula, maybe? Or none of the above. Okay, we could do that. We could do that. None of the above. Agreed. Galen Erso. Galen could be one because we did that earlier. I like the Galen one. I like that one. Thanks, John. I appreciate that. An Ewok sighting? I seriously doubt it. Mike. Leia says, Governor Tarkin, I thought I'd recognize your foul stench when I was brought on board. Suggests that they've met before. Will we see that meeting? I mean, because she exists so much on Coruscant in the Senate, I think that's just implied that those two characters have met time and time before. You know? Yeah. A Rebels character could work. A Rebels character could definitely work because we see the Ghost and Chopper and get a mention of Harrison Dula while on Yavin in Rogue One. So this takes place at the exact same time or directly right before the events of Rogue One. So if the Ghost is on Yavin 4 during Rogue One, then wouldn't it make sense that the Ghost is on Yavin 4 moments before Rogue One? Gonk, I like your shirt. Thank you. I like your gonk noises. Yeah, it says those were the droids you were looking for. Yeah. Indeed. Andor is enough without Jedi. That's true, too. A lot of people think that they don't need Jedi in this, for sure. There could be a lot of mentions. Yeah, that's definitely true, too. We could get a mention of Galen Erso. We could get a mention of Harrison Dula or the Ghost in general, or even Leia Organa. Mentions. It seems like Andor seems to be more fond of the mention rather than the show. And that's been clear with Palpatine time and time again, because I thought for sure Palpatine would be in the second season because of how many times he was mentioned in season 1. But no. Justin says, at 1:26 for the Empire trailer, you're telling me this man doesn't look like Galen Erso from the back? Okay, we got to check this out. For the Rebellion trailer. For the Rebellion trailer at 1:26.
It's smart.
No, I think this is part of guess. Yeah, I think we've already seen this now from episode 6, I think. And this is part of guess when they do the thing on Gorman. I get what you mean. It kind of looks like Galen Erso from the back because he has that same sort of hairstyle, but I think this is part of guess. I like where your head's at, though. I like it. And also, you can't forget that they brought Mads Mikkelsen to Star Wars Celebration. You know, they brought Mads Mikkelsen all the way to Japan to do Star Wars Celebration, where he didn't really do too much there. And maybe it was alluding to the fact that he could be in Andor Season 2. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not. Okay. Kino Loy, will he show up on the base? Honestly, I don't know. At this point, yeah, let's do this poll. Okay. Who do you think will show up in the finale? Your options are Princess Leia. Whoop, Princess Leia. There we go. Darth Vader. And we're going to talk about Vader for a quick sec in a moment. Darth Vader, Tarkin, or Galen Erso. You tell me. Those are your 4 options, Jet. So, just going back to Kino Loy for a second. The weirdest part, and I'm going to try and see if I can find this article. The weirdest part about Kino Loy, is Andy Serkis talking about Kino Loy being in season 2, pretty much telling us that he would be in season 2. And here we are with only 3 episodes left in no Kino Loy. Now, could he show up in the final 3 episodes? Maybe, but it doesn't seem likely at this point. It really doesn't. So let me see if I can find this article. If you guys are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. It's completely free, obviously, and it's a great community in there. We just passed over 300 people in there, so that's awesome. But if you're not in there, go join it immediately. Somebody send me the link if you can find it of this interview of Andy Serkis talking about being in Andor season 2. Because I think we've read it before on live stream, obviously, but I don't know if I'll be able to find it. Oh, wait, maybe I just found it. Hang on, I might have found it. No, this is him talking about Snoke. This is him talking about Snoke. I don't know. Okay, I can't find it. But if anybody finds it, let me know in the chat. Bor Gullet? I think you'll see Bor Gullet. That'd be nice. Send him to Bor Gullet. It's just the way he says it that makes it so much better. Bor Gullet. Yeah. Vader was in the trailer force choking Dedra, so of course he'll be in episode 12. Well, that's not true. Because that was wrong. Kino Loy is a boar? What? No, so yeah, he wasn't force choking him. Okay. Where is Darth Vader at this point in the timeline? Great question. So let's talk about Darth Vader in the likelihood of him showing up. So first things first, tell me in the chat, yes or no, do you think that Darth Vader will be in Andor season 2? Yes or no? Tell me in the chat. Because here's the reality of the situation. Vader, he's in Rebels for season 2, maybe a little bit of season 1, but he's not in the back half of the show. He's not in season 3 or season 4. So where Vader is at this point in time, he's probably still hunting down Jedi. He's probably still doing his thing with the Inquisitors. But really, we don't know. So the likelihood of him showing up, it could still happen. Because as far as we know, he's not anywhere else. There's no, oh, Vader can't be in the final 3 episodes because he was over here. No. He could technically be in these final 3 episodes. Now, will he be is a whole nother question. I honestly think he won't. Just because he wasn't force choking Dedra, it doesn't seem like it's going in that direction where we're going to be getting to see Vader. But they could show him in a scene, maybe just a one-off scene, because we do know that Krennic is going to be highly involved in these next 3 episodes, and so is the Death Star. So there's always a possibility when you have scenes like this, where you got Krennic staring at the Death Star and the whole involvement of the Death Star at all, that Vader could be seen, at least in some sort of way. Maybe just a tiny little cameo, maybe, who knows? But you can never really throw it out of the picture, out of the question, I guess. It's not like he's going to come in and start slicing and dicing Rebels. I don't think so. But maybe just a conversation between him and Krennic. Maybe even a conversation between him and Palpatine. I don't know. I'd love to see Vader, but at this point, it seems highly unlikely, as the majority of you are saying again in the chat. Yeah. Tony Gilroy doesn't do cameos. Although I agree with you, I disagree with you. Yeah. I mean, this second season has allowed him to do cameos, you know? And not cameos just for cameo's sake, but with a purpose. He doesn't not do cameos. He doesn't do cameos for no reason. Mark, what's up? Good evening from England. How we doing? He doesn't do cameos for no reason. So like you have General Draven in last week's episode. That's sort of a cameo. You have Bail Organa. That's sort of a cameo. You got a mention of, I guess that's not a cameo, that's a mention. But even still, you have cameos that serve a purpose. So like in this week's episode, and we haven't even talked about it yet, but Admiral Raddus will be in it. We know that for a fact because he was in one of the trailers shown at Star Wars Celebration to the people there. So certain Rogue One characters, certain rebels from the original trilogy could appear. Maybe characters like Biggs or Wedge Antilles. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name, but I did. So Wedge Antilles, Admiral Akbar, like certain rebel characters from the original trilogy could technically make an appearance. Yeah. Could technically. Raddus versus Thrawn, 1.0 battle. Well, Thrawn I don't think will be involved. At this point in the timeline, Thrawn and Ezra have already disappeared to Peridia. Yeah. Which is, I mean, awesome, but if we were to see any of the Ghost crew, it would probably only be Hera. Maybe a pregnant Hera, actually. Or maybe a very, very young Jason Syndulla. Baby Jason. And Chopper, I mean, Zeb goes off with his family for a while, right? Sabine goes off and trains with Ahsoka for a little bit. Kanan is dead, R.I.P. Kanan. And then Ezra goes off with Thrawn. So, yeah, the only possible appearance of a Rebels crew member would be Hera and Chopper. Right? What time does the Senate get taken over by Palpatine? Well, that would be in A New Hope. So that's once the Death Star has sort of been unveiled. Yeah, after Rogue One. I think Palpatine has to make an appearance to address the news about the Gorman attack and what Mon Mothma said to him in the Senate. I would love to agree with you, but it's been a year. It's only been a week for us, but it's been a year in the Star Wars timeline. So since Mon Mothma has made that speech, it's been so long. Like Palpatine would have already done his damage control, so we won't get to see that. Yeah. You will hear Vader breathe and then Dedra will die. Oh, that would be brutal. Well, that's the thing too, is Krennic is interrogating Dedra in the ISB headquarters. So imagine if Vader comes in the room and just kills her. That would be insane. Yeah. Yeah. It's treason then. Okay, we got to talk about one other very, 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 did I say very important piece of these next 3 episodes? And that is Luthen's backstory. I know we talked about it a little bit on Saturday, but we need to talk about it again, okay? Luthen's backstory. This mysterious character who is so awesome because of Skarsgård, Stellan Skarsgård, but because of the writing of Tony Gilroy. This incredible character, who's my personal favorite, and I'm sure many of your personal favorites from the entire show, we don't even know who he is. We don't know if he's a fallen Jedi, like people are saying in the chat right now. We don't know if he was a former senator or a Sith Lord, or we don't know. But it's going to be revealed, what sounds like, in episode 10, this first episode. But tell me in the chat, what do you think? Who is Luthen? You tell me in the chat. Okay? Right now. And while you do that, we just got a super chat. Who is Luthen Rail? Ryan with a very generous $10 huh says, I bet you $20 that Dedra becomes so distraught with what she did on Gorman that she self-deletes herself. Yikes. Thank you for saying that in a I guess, correct way on YouTube. I don't even know. But I think you might be on the right track. I don't know if she self-deletes herself on purpose or not. But like I said, I think it's more likely that Luthen self-deletes himself and kills Dedra in the process during this scene on the gallery, or in the gallery. Yeah. But you bet me $20? I'll take it. I'll take it, Ryan. I'll take that bet. I'll take that bet. You got Venmo, Ryan? Because you're going to need mine. Oh!
This is where the fun begins.
Yeah. Clea's going to kill her in that scene. It's either Clea or it's Luthen. I'm not too sure. Yeah. Yeah. He's from Naboo and knew Padme. So the Naboo thing seems to be the popular theory, that Luthen is from Naboo or has some sort of connection to Naboo. Not only does he have all these Padme relics with the helmets that Padme wears in the prequel trilogy, but also a Gungan shield that's also from Naboo. So he's got all these Nubian relics. Nubian! And that makes people think that he's sort of tied to Naboo. He could be. He absolutely could be. But how does that really have anything to do with the significance of his character? How does he come to be a gallery owner of these crazy ancient artifacts on Coruscant and become the leader of the rebellion? Why does he hate the Empire so much? Why does he cast his whole life aside to create this rebellion, knowing that he'll die doing it? It does seem like a very Jedi type thing, but wouldn't the Empire know that he was a Jedi before Order 66? Wouldn't Vader and the Inquisitors be hunting him down? And he's hiding in plain sight? A wig and maybe a change of a name to Luthen, it's not enough to hide from the Empire. Now, the weird thing, too, is a possible change of name. Is it possible, chat? Is it possible that Luthen is not his real name and his true name, whatever that may be, is one that we recognize? Now, I can't really sit here and tell you that if his name is revealed, it's going to be somebody crazy. But it could be somebody of somewhat significance. Somebody we thought maybe long dead. I don't know. He's Huge Wang. Okay, that's impossible, but yes. How does he have so many Jedi artifacts on display and not get investigated? That's also very interesting. Where does he get all these artifacts? And nobody's really questioning that either. He's got Sith and Jedi holocrons. Where the hell did he get those? He's got Plo Koon's freaking mask. No, it's probably not the Jedi Master himself's mask, but he has the same species mask. He's Obi-Wan's little brother, mentioned in the Kenobi series. Seems a little far-fetched. Well, the only connection that Luthen and Palpatine have is that they both collect artifacts and stuff. For now, yeah, a connection to Palpatine. If they were both from Naboo, it would be a little bit more. The question is, why does he hate the Empire so much? Could he have been a separatist? Because usually when we think separatists, we think bad guys, but they also got screwed over by the Empire. They would also not like it. His real name is Mace Windu. Oh my God.
Incorrect.
I don't think so. He's Uncle Harlow. I can't wait for this show to be over so that the Uncle Harlow theories could just go away. He's Jod Nawood. Well, he'd be a little bit too old for that. He'd be a little bit too old for that. Yeah. I feel like he's just a wealthy dude that was inspired to make a change. But if he was so wealthy, he really wouldn't care this much about destroying the Empire, you know? You know? Actually, imagine if Dedra's dad is Luthen. Oh. That'd be pretty interesting. But we learned that her parents die. What if Cyril's dad is Luthen? Remember, Cyril's dad's description was a adventurer who left his family behind. Maybe he left his family behind to start the rebellion. See, I feel like a connection like that is almost too crazy. Him being a Jedi is not even as crazy as him being Luthen's dad. I mean, Cyril's dad, sorry. He might have to have some sort of wealth because he has all these different artifacts. Where did he get all of them, you know? Yeah, no. Luthen being Edie's estranged husband turned adventurer makes more sense than him being Uncle Harlow, lol. It does make more sense than him being Uncle Harlow, but it almost sounds too crazy that it just can't work. You know? He was a Gungan hunter? Oh, that's horrible. Do you think we will see a space battle in the final arc? I hope so. Because we've only really seen one actual space battle in Andor. Is that right? It's season 1 where the Fondor does its cool lightsaber thing. I'd love to see a space battle again, because the space battle in Rogue One is so good. Uncle Harlow is an S-tier character, and you cannot convince me otherwise. When we make the next character list for Star Wars, we'll make sure to put him in the F tier. I just watched an interview with Dedra and Krennic, and it seems they have hinted that Dedra survives. I hope not. I don't think she will. Her survival would make things weird, you know? It would make things a lot more complicated than they need to be. We'll put it that way. Yeah, I don't think so. But here's the craziest part. We've gone through 2 seasons of Andor. Almost. We are in the last 3 episodes. And currently, with the information that we've been given about the character of Luthen, we have not a clue as to who he is, where he came from. Where did he come from? Where did he go? Where did he come from? How did I jump? We don't know. We've spent so much time with this character. We are going to learn. We will finally learn his backstory. And Tony Gilroy has said it's important. But what is it? Like, we can sit here and speculate till the cows come home, and it will be a while because I don't own any cows, but we can speculate about it. It just won't, it doesn't make sense. Like, we don't know. We think we know this guy, we don't. Everything could change. The whole way we look at this character could change. What if he is a separatist? Do we think he's a bad guy now? What if he was a Jedi? That changes everything. That literally changes everything. Luthen is a Palpatine. If you want to get rid of any characters, just send them to Alderaan. Honestly, here's the deal. We have talked about how many characters have to die, or at least have to get written out of the show by the end of this 3-episode arc here. But you're right. I mean, if you want to kill off a character without killing them off in this show, you just send them to Alderaan. You just send them to the Death Star. The funny theory at the beginning of season 2 was that what if Cyril gets a promotion to the Death Star and then he just dies there? Well, we know that doesn't happen, but Dedra could get that same thing, a promotion to the Death Star from Krennic. And she could see it as this huge promotion, and then she dies in the fiery explosion of the Battle of Yavin. But I don't think so. I think she's going to die. Yeah. Mike, if you have hamburgers in your fridge, you own a piece of cow, so that... Oh my God. You guys are horrible. Correction. Separatists are not really the bad guys. A bad guy is a perspective thing, I guess. Mike, remember the post-credits scene in season 1 of Andor? Smartly makes people realize that what they were building in the prison. 100% sure that they're doing a similar thing with the post-credits scene in season 2, but what will it be? You bring up a great point. Season 1, when Cassian's in a prison for 3 or 4 episodes, you're not thinking that he's building the Death Star. You don't think he has a part in building the thing that destroys him. And that's just freaking genius writing, because the post-credit scene of season 1 is the reveal of that. What he was building in that prison is crafting the Death Star. Crazy. But what you're inferring here, or what you're implying, is that season 2 is doing a similar thing. That something happening in this second season will have a post-credit scene that'll be this big reveal. Like Cassian working on the Death Star, but unknowingly. I think a big reveal would be that, or not maybe big reveal, but a reveal would be that Bix is happy with B2 somewhere off. Like if that was a post-credit scene, that'd be fine. Because we know what happens to Cassian, and maybe she like senses it. Okay, so Bix in episode, I don't know, what is it, 6, 5, 4, 2, 7, 8? I don't even know. In one of the episodes that Bix is in, I think it's 7 actually, after they just talked to the Force Healer, it's definitely episode 7. After they just talked to the Force Healer, Bix is saying like, I've sensed this too. Bix is like, I got the Force too. She's saying that she sensed it too. Mike, what's up? So what are the chances that maybe Bix isn't like a Force user, you know, but she can like sense stuff in the Force? The post-credit scene of Andor season 2 is Bix, and she's happy, and she's maybe with B2, and she's doing her own thing, and she's awoken in a nightmare as she senses the death of Cassian on the beaches of Scarif, to the Death Star. That would be crazy. That would be horrible, but it would be crazy too. They've been alluding to the fact that she has these nightmares. She has the nightmare of Dr. Gorst coming to see her in the middle of the night, and then that creepy dude shows up from the Empire in the first 3 episodes, and then she has the nightmare of Gorst torturing the guy that Cassian killed in their apartment, and then later on in those 3 episodes, she kills Dr. Gorst in that same way that he kills that other dude. So maybe she has another nightmare to end the show off where Cassian dies. It's a little much, but you know. It's a little much. Final scene is Bix putting Cassian's brick into Rick's road. Oh, that would be heartbreaking. But that probably won't happen though, because the Empire is definitely still on Ferrix. Yeah. What if they test the Death Star on Gorman after it's stripped of the Calkite? I don't think so, because the first test for the Death Star is in Rogue One. It's on Jeddah. That's the first test of it. And we see that from Krennic and Tarkin's perspective. Yeah. Mando United, what's up? Follow the yellow Bix road. You guys are crazy. All right, let me end this poll really quickly, so we can start up another one. By the way, 59% of you guys think that Galen Erso is the most likely. 16% say Tarkin, and then both 12% are Vader and Leia. Interesting. Okay. So I think probably the most obvious poll of the day, but I'm going to do it anyway, is do you think Luthen dies? Will Luthen die in the final 3 episodes? Yes or no? And while you do that, I want to read this article. So I found this last night, and I thought it'd be pretty cool. I haven't read through the whole thing, so it'll be a surprise to me as well as it is to you. But Screen Rant wrote this article of Star Wars' best TV show is almost over. Here are 10 bold predictions for Andor Season 2's final episodes. So I have not read this whole thing. I think I only read the first one. So let's see the list. Number 10. The final arc will be an homage to Andor's original premise. What does that mean? I find it hilarious that K2SO isn't appearing as a main character until the final arc, but that's only because of what the show could have been. Andor was originally pitched as a more episodic show about Cassian Andor and K2SO going on missions every single week, similar to the formula of The Mandalorian. However, Tony Gilroy realized that this premise was a dead end and created a new pitch for the fantastic show that we got. Interesting. So the original pitch was just a Cassian and K2 mission of the week type thing. And maybe that's what this final 3 episodes going to be? I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Number 9, Cassian will meet characters from Star Wars Rebels. So we talked about this already, but the likelihood of seeing these specific characters, a Hera Syndulla, a Chopper, a Zeb Orrelios, probably unlikely. Agent Kallus. Huh. Not a character I ever really thought about. What do we think, chat? Agent Kallus showing up? What is the likelihood of that? I mean, here, they give us the image of him on Yavin, of course, because that's where we're going. But what are the chances of this? And, of course, they saved the best for last. Captain Rex. I seriously doubt Captain Rex. Actually, I mean, Captain Rex is just as likely as Kallus or even Hera, but I doubt it. If they were to bring in Captain Rex into live action, this would not be the first place. I don't think. But, of course, the Rebels crew were even mentioned in last week's episode, so it's always possible. Prediction number 8. Cassian will get closure on his sister. Now, about 4 weeks ago, before this season started, I would have been fully on board this theory. I thought the sister arc would have been explained hopefully by the end of this season, and now it doesn't seem likely. But tell me in the chat, do you think the sister arc will finally be resolved in this final 3 episodes? To me, it doesn't seem likely, but tell me. And while you do, can I get some good Cups Follow orders in the chat, please? I feel like since we switched it over from the Rise of Skywalker Cup to the Revenge of the Sith Cup, you know, we gotta, yeah. No, sister. I don't know. It just seems like such a weird thing to establish the sister arc in the first 3 episodes of the first season and then never go back to it. Just never again. Bix's Cassian says, oh, that would just be horrible. That would be the worst. We're not doing this again. Although it hasn't been mentioned in a while, and by a while they mean since the first 3 episodes, I think it will be fitting for Cassian to get closure on his long-lost sister, Carrie. His efforts to find her set up this whole series into motion, and he only had Marva's word that there were no survivors on Kenari. Perhaps the ISB would track her down and make Cassian think that they have her to lure him into a trap, using their records to confirm her fate. That would be pretty interesting. The Empire captures his sister to lure him out. That would be wild. But yeah, the only word he has is Marva saying that nobody survived on Kenari. However, the opening scene is him going to that bar and asking about this girl from Kenari who was there. Rich, what's up? How we doing? You know? What is Andor? What if Andor had a sister? Wait, this is because his sister is. What? That's not English. I still think it's Dedra. Dedra being the sister would be crazy. It would be so crazy. Because Dedra doesn't remember her parents. She grew up with the Empire. It's possible that the Empire came in and snatched up this girl. It's possible. It is possible. What do we think, chat? Is Dedra Cassian's sister? And don't start with she has blonde hair because she could change her hair. 7. We'll get a conversation between B2 and K2. I seriously doubt this. B2 seems to be sidelined, but getting these 2 droids to have a conversation would be pretty cool. Number 6. Cyril will be honored as a hero of the Empire. I could see that. He gets his own statue or something. Cyril Khan was brutally killed off in the previous arc, but I don't think the show is done with him quite yet. I think it would be poetic if Cyril got what he always wanted, was to be honored as a hero of the Empire, only for it to cost his entire life. And let's not forget, he sort of left the Empire right at the end of his life too. So there's that. Perhaps we'll even get a ceremony for him and other Imperials who died in Gorman. It is a year later, so I don't know. We'll see. 5. The Empire will punish Mon Mothma by executing her family? Oh my God! Holy crap!
I got a bad feeling about this.
Executing her family is crazy. And I say some crazy stuff, guys. All right, that's pretty brutal. But it would put a pin on where her daughter and husband are during the events of the original trilogy and Rogue One, because they are not involved with all that stuff. You know? So where would she be? Perrin. I don't know, chat. What are they going to do with Perrin? And her daughter, for that matter, because she's married off too. I don't know. Executing her children her family is pretty crazy. But yeah, also Vel too. Vel is involved in that family that would be executed, I guess. Number 4, Luthen will die saving his informant in the ISB. Okay, let's hear this. Andor has made it obvious that Luthen will die, as the poll does state in the chat right now. So it's just a matter of how it will happen. The season has continued to emphasize how Luthen is willing to sacrifice his people and divide them against each other, so they're easier to use. But maybe he'll decide to make things as right as possible in the end, saving his informant Lonnie Zhang from the clutches of the ISB. Would also lead to other long-awaited outcomes. Sorry. Yeah, so 2 big open-ended questions need to be answered. What happens to Luthen and what happens to Lonnie? Because these two cannot really survive the events of this second season. Lonnie wanted to retire in season 1. He wanted to go settle down with his family, and Luthen wouldn't let him. And now Luthen needs to die. Perrin is Cassian's sister. That's great. That's great. But Luthen needs to die. So how does this whole thing with Lonnie pan out? It'll be interesting. Maybe he sacrifices himself to save him. Episode 3. Number 3. Luthen and Dedra finally meet face to face, and this seems highly likely when you put this evidence into the equation. But although Dedra was assigned to Gorman, season 2 established that she is still obsessed with finding Axis. After all the maneuvering these two have done behind the scenes, it would be awesome if Dedra finally got to see the man who gave her and the ISB so much trouble. Maybe Luthen will show up in his disguise to woo Dedra at an event, only for her to realize too late who he really is. This would be pretty crazy if they were at some sort of party and they met, but I don't think so. They're meeting right at his gallery. Right at the gallery. Right at home. Which is wild. I am your father, Dedra. That would be... No. Okay. Number 2. Bix will kill Dedra. Interesting. So they think that Bix is coming back. I think Bix is gone. Bix Colleen made a heartbreaking decision to leave Cassian in the previous episode, but I'm confident that she will still play a role in the final episodes. She struggles with her trauma from being tortured all season, culminating, in her killing Dr. Gorse before his heinous methods could be expanded with the program. Since Dedra oversaw and approved Bix's torture, there's a good chance that she could be next on Bix's list. Honestly, I thought this at one point, but since Bix left last episode, I don't think she's coming back. What do you guys think? Do you think Bix is going to be in these final 3 episodes? I think she's done. I feel like that sad send-off was supposed to be a send-off. Was supposed to be it. That's it. She's done. I don't know. You guys tell me. You guys tell me. Luthen goes into hiding and becomes a bounty hunter and calls himself Dengar. That's one. That's one. It would be sad if that was the last time that we saw her, but that's sort of what it felt like, no? It felt like that. Pete says, Luthen is related / connected to Naboo royalty and lost his family in the droid invasion? That would be pretty wild. And then blames Palpatine for it? Bix is gone. I agree with that. Bix is in a spice den somewhere. Okay. She's trying those death sticks. Sure. And number 1, there will be an epilogue set after Rogue One. So this is what we were kind of speculating about too. Maybe getting some Bix, and or maybe a prequel. And the final episode will lead into Rogue One. But there's good reason to believe that there will be an epilogue set after the movie's events. The animated series, The Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, and The Bad Batch all ended with short epilogue scenes set years after the events of each series. This doesn't guarantee Andor will do the same, but I think it could work really well. With The Clone Wars, yes, you had Vader picking up the lightsaber where Ahsoka laid it at the end of season 7. With The Bad Batch, it was years later where Omega goes to join the rebellion. And then with Rebels, it was years later where Ahsoka comes to get Sabine to go find Ezra. So could Andor do a similar thing where it's maybe years later or at least after the events of Rogue One where we see Bix or anybody, I guess? That'd be kind of cool. That would be kind of cool. Bix definitely left Cassian because she found out he was his sister and it was awkward. No, considering what Cassian and so many other rebels will sacrifice in Rogue One, it would be interesting to see how the characters who do survive react to the events of the movie. It would also give a more satisfying conclusion to the show itself, rather than just simply relying on Rogue One as a proper series finale. Whether or not any of my predictions come true, I can't wait to see the finale. Yeah. Okay. So what do we think? Any of those likely to happen? I feel like an epilogue post-credit scene type deal could work. The Mon Mothma's family getting executed one is crazy. But who knows what's going to happen to Perrin? There needs to be some sort of closure with that character. Right? They have to put that to bed somehow. She's going to do a Han Solo and save the day at the end? Who, Bix? Uncle Harlow equals Luthen? I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah. The Saw Gerrera thing is weird too. I don't know what's going to happen there. You know? Imagine Luthen showing up at Bix's doorstep to tell her that Cassian's dead. That would imply that Luthen survives too, and I really just don't see that happening. I don't see it. I mean, it could, and that would be crazy if that were the reality. I don't know. I really don't know how open-ended they're going to leave this for specific characters. Because you got, like, Leia maybe could survive. Luthen maybe could survive. Like, very, very small chance. Wilmon, I feel like he's got to die. He's too involved with Cassian. He's too involved with the rebellion that he's probably going to die. Dedra kind of has to die. So it'll be very interesting to see who doesn't die, you know? Who survives? What if Mon Mothma has to take care of Perrin before she takes care of her? Before he takes care of her? Oh my God, like they kill each other? Oh my God, that's terrible. I don't know. Perrin's very weird because he was such a almost main character in the first 6 episodes. Then he's not in episode 7, 8, 9. And now they're talking about executing him? Like, what's going on? There does have to be some sort of backlash because Mon Mothma is going to get arrested. She's going to get arrested for calling out Palpatine. So Perrin, if he does stay on Coruscant, is going to be met with some backlash because he is married to Mon Mothma. I don't know. It will be interesting. I'm convinced R2's spokesperson paid money for The Empire Strikes Back. What? If Dedra doesn't die, I'm going to be so disappointed. She's got to die. I mean, there's no way around it with a character like Dedra. She has to die. Because she's an Imperial officer who's rising through the ranks so quickly. Her involvement with the rebellion specifically is so great that she'd have to be involved with the works of Rogue One in the original trilogy, and she's not. So it seems like she has to die. Her being on the Death Star could work, but still. Perrin dies in a mining accident? What would he be doing mining? I don't think the finale will answer all of our questions. I think there will still be many more left unanswered. I think so too. I think there'll be a few unanswered questions, but the big ones that need to be answered are Luthen's backstory in the deaths of many of these characters. You know, there can still be unanswered questions, but there has to be an ending here. It can lead up to Rogue One, but there still has to be an ending. It felt like last week was really the finale, but we still got 3 more episodes because there's a lot of open-ended questions that need to be closed. Yeah. Dedra's hate keeps her alive. Like Reva. Yeah. Will Partagaz get away? Maybe. I mean, I don't see him dying. Or really the necessity of him dying either. I don't know. Luthen and Leia have been behaving like a Jedi/Padawan ideology. Kinda. I don't know. It seems weird to me that those two characters, if those two characters survive. You know? Hey, you want to inhale some Rhydonium? Saw Gerrera, probably. Probably. The Saw Gerrera of it all, I don't know how he's going to be involved with this. With Jedha, maybe we get to see, what's the pilot's name from Rogue One? But no. That's the B, right? I'm thinking Bode from Jedi Survivor, but it's not Bode. What the hell's his name, Chad? It's Bodhi. I was pretty close. Bodhi, yeah. Bodhi could be in it because he defects from the Empire. He's the pilot that defects, and that could be in like the last episode because it would lead directly into the opening scene of Rogue One because Saw Gerrera does have Bodhi in his captor. Actually, we see him get captured by Saw in Rogue One. I don't know. If we see Bodhi, we're definitely seeing Galen Erso. Because we could see Galen Erso tell Bodhi, or give Bodhi the hologram message that's supposed to be for Jyn, and we could see all that play out. Yeah. That could go down. If we're getting to see all that, though, we're going to get a big look at the Death Star. Big look at what Galen Erso's up to. I think there's going to be a lot more Krennic than we've been talking about tonight, because we've been talking about, or today, we've been talking about Dedra, we've been talking about Luthen. Krennic is supposed to be the main villain. As we talked about in the interview that we watched the other day. Actually, let me see if I can pull that up really quickly. Ben Mendelsohn was on Seth Meyers. And he talks about how, let me see if I can find it really quick. Yeah, here it is. Perfect. He talks about this.
A role of Krennic, Rogue One, a fantastic film. Fantastic film.
Thank you. Yep.
And when Tony Gilroy, who created this fantastic show, when he reached out to you to see if you want to do it again, were you excited?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, look, Krennic's a fantastic character, but he's a middle manager in Rogue One. You know, he's a guy building a Death Star.
Yeah.
So I did make one request.
Which was?
Which was, well, you know, let's pump up the volume a little bit. And I think, look, the show is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it's, you know, it exceeds all expectations, and I think we pumped up the volume.
You pumped up the volume?
So pretty much what he's saying here is that Krennic, he's not that big of a bad guy in Rogue One. He is just a middleman. Tarkin's the bad guy. Vader's the bad guy. They're in control the whole time. But in Andor Season 2, he is the bad guy. No way. Sorry, I just got a text. Sam just texted me. Let's say, everybody say hi to Sam in the chat. Sorry, I had to stretch. So right now, currently, we've only had 2 episodes of Krennic. That's it. Episode 1, where he's in one scene, and then episode 6, where he's in a little bit more, but even still, not that much. So him being a more important role seems to make me believe that these last 3 episodes are going to have a whole lot of Krennic, and him being all badass in the upper management type deal, and he'll be badass. So look at all those high Sams in the chat. You guys are the best. Sam survived Gorman. No. Yes. 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 No. Oh my God, you guys are crazy. No. But Krennic's involvement. No. No. No, that was not it. No. You guys are completely pulling me off of topic. Krennic's involvement is going to be a lot bigger in these 3 episodes. He'll be the main villain. He'll be the guy in charge. And that could lead to him killing Dedra, or at least him interrogating Dedra like we see in the trailer. But what Ben Mendelsohn is teasing at here is that we're getting a lot of Krennic in these last 3 episodes. So tell me in the chat, what is Krennic up to? The Death Star, of course, can't be seen by the rebels. It can't be seen by Cassian specifically. So what is Krennic doing in these final 3 episodes? What's his purpose? If we're really seeing this, and they've been marketing this scene quite a bit, what's he up to? What's he doing? Mike is sweating. You know what? The Death Star is literally in the trailer. They're not hiding this. They're not hiding the fact that Krennic and the Death Star, they're soulmates. They're not hiding that. They're not hiding it. But what's his purpose? What's his goal here? He's committing tax fraud? Oh, okay. Where does he interrogate Dedra in the trailer? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. No, it's not that trailer. Hang on. I got to pull up this trailer again. I don't know why I sang that song. My brain works in mysterious ways. I don't know why I'm still singing this song, but look, I found the clip I was looking for. Oh, it's muted.
We will be crushed.
Resistance is absurd.
Oops, I missed it. Oops, I missed it again. Right here. So that's Dedra's reflection, or very obviously Dedra's reflection in the mirror. And this is Krennic interrogating her. Under the sea. Was that what I was even saying? I don't even know anymore, chat. I'm losing my mind. But this is Krennic interrogating Dedra. So what's going on here? Why is this happening? That's sort of the big questions and involvements of Krennic being involved in this second season, sorry. No worries. Appreciate you. I always forget to remind people, so I'm reminding you again while you're all here. If you are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it immediately. It's the greatest place on earth, just like this chat is right now. Yeah. Will we see the Imperial facility on Scarif? Interesting. I don't know. I don't know if we'll really be getting that much. Well, the Death Star, correct me if I'm being wrong, if I am wrong, sorry, is built around Geonosis? Where is the Death Star finished at? Because it arrives to Jeddah, it arrives to Scarif, it arrives to Yavin 4, but where is it built? Where is it completed at? Yeah, it's in space, obviously, but I mean the space outside of a specific planet. Where is it at? Jordan with a very generous $5 holla says, so what you're telling me, Mike, is that the Death Star is going under the sea. Yes. Yes, in The Rise of Skywalker. Absolutely. Under the sea. That's the second Death Star, though. Yeah. It's over Scarif? Are we sure? Are we sure? Let's look it up. Let's look it up. Where is the Death Star assembled? In orbit above the planet of Geonosis. Oh, wait, is that the second Death Star or the first? The first Death Star was assembled in orbit above Geonosis. So does that mean we could be seeing Geonosis in these next 3 episodes? Not like we'll go to the planet itself, but we'll at least see it from space. Where we see this scene right here with Krennic looking at the Death Star, somewhere around this location is Geonosis. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But yes, it does move around. It does get to go into hyperspace. It is pretty cool. I'd love to see the Death Star in hyperspace. That's a scene I want to see in Star Wars. Because you know how like a ship going through hyperspace, it looks like it's flying forward. Just a giant ball just going through hyperspace. It would be cool. It'd be cool. Yeah. All right, let me end this poll. By the way, do you guys think that Luthen will be dying in these final 3 episodes? 81% of you said yes, which I assumed would be the result, but yeah, there you go. They needed resources from Kashyyyk as well. If you play Star Wars Empire at War, the strategy game, yeah, I'm sure they needed resources from a lot of different places. For sure. Like Gorman, which is now destroyed. Yeah. Was it not moved to Yedu, where Galen Erso was at? I don't think so. I think that's where Galen Erso was working from, but I don't think that's where the Death Star was being built. I don't know. You may fire when ready. Yeah. Were there engines for the Death Star? Well, it did jump into hyperspace, so it must have some sort of engines, right? Will we see Gorman post excavation? Excavation? Is that even a word? Excavation? That's more of a word. I just can't read. Will we see Gorman post massacre? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. I feel like we've moved on from that, you know? Yeah, no? Okay. But I do have to get on out of here. This was quite the stream, if I do say so myself. We had the most people we've had here since the Acolyte days, which is crazy. Talking about how big... Yeah, I've done too much talking, you know? But we have hit almost the 2-hour mark, and I do have to get on out of here. I'm slowly losing my voice right now. But I gotta go finish this short. So watch out for a short at 5 p.m. tonight. This one's actually a great one. It's about Return of the Jedi and the lost song that you never have heard before. Maybe you have, but I hadn't. And it was pretty awesome. So watch out for that short in a little bit here in just about an hour. I appreciate you all for being here. If you are not yet in that Discord, go join the Discord. The link is in the description below. The people who love Star Wars, keep the conversation going in there. We got over 300 of you awesome people in there, so keep it going. And yeah, we got a watch party tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so watch out for that watch party tomorrow. And yeah. Until then, smash a freaking like on the stream. How do we like? We only have 100 likes, chat. There's 200 of you here. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. On your way out, I would appreciate it very greatly. Huge shouts to Darth Plagueis Lives, Jordan, Ryan, Corey, Toy Master, JT, Light Blinded Fool, Learning with Kaya for the very generous super chats. I appreciate that very, very muchly. And yes, Yub Nub. No, it is not Yub Nub, actually, Jordan. It is not Yub Nub. I know a lot of people like that one, but it's a different song from Jabba's Palace. And with that, I'll leave you till tomorrow. May the Force be with you. Always. Oh yeah, what a great stream. What a great show. This was quite the live stream, if I do say so myself. I mean, we almost broke records today, chat. We almost broke records today. Craziness. But I appreciate you all so much more than you'll ever know. This was quite the live stream, and I cannot wait to see how this all unfolds tomorrow. I feel like we're going in completely blind into tomorrow's live stream. It's crazy. It's crazy. And yes, Lap T-Neck is the song, and I can't wait to show you guys. But I appreciate you all so much more than you'll ever know. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. And hope you have a great rest of your evening. See you guys at the watch party. And good night, everybody.